Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Workshop on a Friday because it is part 2 of our Lucky Charm quilt along project along, if you like. This is what we're making. We started Wednesday with our regularly scheduled Wednesday workshop. And today is part 2. Sunday will be part 3 where we finish up. Hi, everybody. I'm Diana. I'm the owner and designer and educator here at Sew Uncommon and a designer creator of the Build a Quilt system, where we create beautiful patchwork with the hoop of our embroidery machine. That's right. All of this that you've seen, all made with the embroidery machine. So let's talk about what we did on Wednesday. We talked specifically about the clover block, right? And I had you create your different leaf blocks. So here's the one color that I have now. I'm going to show you these kind of placed where they should be placed in the demo. When I'm done with this main section, there will be 2 demo videos. One for the stem block, that's the first piece we're doing today, and one for the double chain block, okay? But on Wednesday, you were to create 4 different sets, 4 different colors, 3 in each color of these to make your clover, because they're going to end up being, now this is an older version that I made in the traditional way of quilting. So this is going to be slightly different in the end, but nonetheless the same. But you're going to be making these 4 clovers, and you want 4 different fabrics, and you're going to make 3 of the leaf blocks in each one. That was from Wednesday. So tell me in the comments who got theirs done. Can you raise your hand? I'm done with mine. I've got a couple that I have to cut out of the stabilizer, but they're done. They're ready to go. So I love that. And I now have all of my stem blocks done. I'm still working on my double chains as well, because that's going to be the one a little bit more time consuming. Super easy to make. We just got to make a lot of them. So today we are talking about the stem block, which makes obviously the stem of your clover. It's this piece here. This is another kind of flippy corner. So if you've noticed, in March, we have a theme going, right? Flippy corners. But flippy corners are great because flippy corners allow us to use this as a stem to a leaf, or it could be used as a stem to a flower. Flippy corners are allowing us to make leaf shapes that are going to end up looking like 3-leaf clovers. It's not the only thing that flippy corners are good for, but in my eyes, over all the decades of quilting that I have done, flippy corners are always what I lean towards when I want to shape my quilt, when I want to make something to look more rounded. So let's look at our finished clover block here. So can you see, by using the little flippy corners, we've created more rounded looks in the leaves. Now, obviously not pure circles, but it gives it the shape, the roundness. And if you were with us yesterday, which was Thursday for Riley Blake Day, this week in block 6 of the Riley Blake Challenge, that block also has flippy corners, not only for the flower, which is the bloom in that, but also for the leaves. And the leaves allow you to learn how to do flippy corners on a triangle base rather than on a square base. So it's a lot of good practice for you for using flippy corners in different ways. So I will link that video here at the end. Those patterns, as well as the free or the Lucky Charm pattern, is free at the website, and I'll give you that website info at the end. So you're going to be making 4 of your stems. Now, I'm going to tell it to you now. I'm telling it to you later in the demo as well. I sent out a notification through the website, and I also posted a post on our community tab. Take your pattern for the Lucky Charm and go straight to your cut sheet information, go down to where it says cut sheet for stem block. This first piece says cut 3 by 4.5. Just scratch that out and write in 2 by 6. That's actually the size you want to make. When I originally wrote this, I was thinking about the width here. And so that 4.5 would have been fine going this way, but it wasn't long enough to do this on the diagonal. But you just need you need 4 2 by 6s in your darkest green. And I'll remind you of that again in the demo, but you want this to be your darkest green, okay, for the stem. All right, and the stem color I did not use in my double chains. My double chains were only made out of the same fabrics I used for my leaves. However, if you see that you're running out of greens, or let's say you say, I got 12 different greens, I'd like to use them all. Can you? Yes. Cut out 2 of each of them, 2 5 by 5s of each of them. And then that way you'll have a really nice combination of greens in this pattern. But all you need for this pattern is your leaf colors, and you're going to cut 6 of each of them and 7 of 2 of them. So out of the 4, 2 of them cut 6 and 6. The third and the fourth one cut 7 and 7. And that way you're going to have enough. And then I go over this with you a little bit in the demo, but let's show you. This is my stack, and I just put them in piles of all 4. Okay. And then at the very end, I have the 2 piles that I had 7 of. I have 1 double chain set there. And then I lay those to the side, and you'll see in the demo, it just keeps going and going and going. It's very simple. So at the end of this, you're going to have the demo for the stem block and the demo for the double chain block. That's really it today. But don't forget, all of your information is over on the website. This pattern is free. If you are someone who would like to do this, but you really want to do it in the traditional quilting way, there is a free pattern out on my website that will allow you to do that. It's for this one that I did several years ago for a giving project. It's free until the end of March, and then it goes back to being a $5 pattern because the proceeds of this go to local food banks, and I appreciate that. But since I was doing the Build a Quilt version for free, I thought I'd do this one for free too, in case some other folks want to do it. So if you do the traditional sewing one and you have questions, I want you to contact me privately at support@sewincommon.com, and I will help you out, because I don't plan on going through those instructions. This video set is strictly for the Build a Quilt, but I will help you out if you need it on the traditionally pieced one. Okay. If you have questions about the Build a Quilt set, post them here on this link, because then I can answer those questions for everybody. I love getting your private messages, and I get lots of them. But it's really more helpful for everyone if you would post your questions that are specific to the pattern or the information right here. That way I can answer them for everybody. Because some nights I'm sitting down and I'm looking through, and I've got like 12 emails or 8 emails or something, and they're all asking me the same thing. And it would be lovely just to be able to type that out once. And I can do that if it's in the comments, then everyone will see it. Alrighty, enough of that. So as you're going along, please feel free to post your photos over at the Facebook page so that I can see them, so that we can all see like what fabrics you're using, all that kind of stuff, because maybe we go, oh, I have that fabric. I'm going to go grab that one and change it for one that I haven't cut yet, or something like that. Maybe you forgot you had it and somebody else's reminds you. That's always fun. Alrighty, folks. Again, if you need to get your pattern, you can do that at the website, www.sewincommon.com. You can talk to me privately if you need to at support@sewincommon.com. And as always, please subscribe. Just go ahead right now while we're here together, click that subscribe button, set that little notification bell, and set it for all. Because, I mean, I know that gives you choices, but set it for all. That way you'll know when we do Wednesday workshop, when stuff comes out for Quilt Lab, when stuff comes out for the Riley Blake challenge that we're doing that now. And you can subscribe over on my website as well for website information, because you'll get blog posts first, all that kind of stuff. And we truly appreciate it. And we love having all of you as part of our Sew in Common family. And please like and share. That's how everybody sees these videos. The more you like and share, the more people will watch, and that helps more people find us and find this Build a Quilt system. And I appreciate that very much as well. Okay, folks, if you're not done with your clover leaves yet, go ahead and get started with that. Go ahead and make 4 of your leaves, and you're going to be making 13 of these double chain blocks, unless you use a bigger hoop so that you can get more than one hooping in one. But I wanted to show you that, and that's what you'll see in the demo. All right, everybody, as soon as I sign off now, the stem demo will come up, and then the double chain demo come up, and we will see you Sunday for Quilt Lab, which will be part 3 of the Lucky Charm project, quilt along project that we're doing. And you'll have it all ready then for St. Patrick's Day, or just as a lovely spring table topper. Until next time, everybody, have fun making your lucky charms, and of course, sew life beautiful. Bye for now. Hi, everybody. This video is the demonstration for the leaf block, which is part of the Lucky Charm project, and it is part of the clover block. It's the stem for the clover block. And this is what your finished block will look like. You can see it from the back there. Now, I want to tell you that yesterday, Thursday, I sent out a notification through the website, and I also put a notification on the community board here on the Facebook channel, because there was a change in the cut list for this particular segment, and it's regarding the green fabric for the stem. I changed it because the piece I had you cut would have worked okay if this was going from horizontally from side to side, but I forgot to take into account that we were working on the diagonal where you need more fabric. So you need, in case you haven't seen it, and write this in on your pattern or a sticky note to put on your pattern, however you organize your patterns that way, that you need 4 2x6 pieces cut out of the green. The white part stays the same, but the green needs to be 2 inches by 6 inches. And you can see that again on the community section of the Facebook, not the Facebook page, of the YouTube channel, sorry, the YouTube channel. And if you are not subscribed to the website, you might want to go do that, because I sent out notifications to everyone who was subscribed over there. Alrighty, so in this block, we're working with 2 fabrics, the green, the dark green. You want this to be your darkest green out of all the leaves you're making for the clover and everything. You want this stem to be the darkest green, and then your white for your background. So that's how that's going to look. And I will show you here in a minute what it looks like with 3 of the clover blocks. Okay, so here are my 3 clover blocks from one of my clover. Going to lay those out, and then your stem block is going to go, it's going to be the 4th block. So you're going to have upper left and lower left are going to be your clover pieces, and your upper right will be a clover piece, and then your bottom right will be your stem. when you stitch these together, these blocks, these basically very simple 4 patches, you'll do these 2 together, and then flip it over and sew your rows together. So very simple. And once you've made all 4 of your stems, then you can go ahead and put your clover blocks together, because that was part of doing your clover blocks was the assignment from Wednesday, if you can call it an assignment, but that's what we worked on. So hopefully you got all 12 of your clover blocks done. And now once you do your 4 stem blocks, you can get those 4 blocks together. We'll also be doing another demo today for the double chain blocks, but that we'll talk about more later. So let's set that aside and that aside. I'm going to bring out my hoop now, and as you can see, I've stitched out my boundary box and my box, my machine step 2, which is my placement block for the stem. So let's go ahead and lay that down here. Let me fix this a little. There, you can see it better now. And I'm going to put a wee bit of glue just right there in the stem piece. I'm going to take my stem fabric and just lay it right like that. Really simple. Then we'll place this back into the hoop and I'll stitch it down. There is a little bit of trimming on this, but it's very simple. It's like with our other flippy cornered blocks. You're just going to trim off of each side, and I'll show you that here in a moment. Technically, this really is still a flippy corner block because you're not doing full halves on your corners, and you're using your corners to shape this stem. So it is a shaping piece, and that's, we know, what flippy corners are really, really good for, right? They're good for lots of things, but that's what they're really good for. So now I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch or roughly a 1/4 inch right across here, and then I'll flip it and do the same thing on this side. And then we will be ready to lay down our flippy corners, which are in reality the largest flippy corners that we've done so far. Now, I'm curious, have any of you started doing the Riley Blake pattern, Bloom Where You Are Planted, from yesterday? Because that block has flippy corners. It just worked out great that we were able to do more flippy corners. But that block, one of the segments is doing flippy corners on a triangle. So that was nice to be able to do that. So if you haven't, grab that pattern over at the website and try working on flippy corners on a rectangle or on a triangle. Now we're going to stitch down our first flippy corner. Put a little bit of glue there. Flip our fabric. Give a little finger press or use your seam roller. And just like with our other flippy corners, we're going to be using our tape to tape down these little edges of the fabric. It's really the same idea as all the other flippy corner pieces we've done. The only thing that really isn't a flippy corner in this pattern is when we do our double chain blocks. And that will be coming up in the next demonstration video. Now we've laid that down. Now we know that if these flippy corners were a printed fabric, they would be laid right side together. So right sides together, so that when we flip them, we see the right sides. But if you're using solid fabric, it won't make, if you can tell your front from your back on your solid, then definitely lay those fabrics down right side together. Now you're going to need 2 little pieces of tape. And I'm going to give you the pro tip that I gave on Wednesday again, and the one that I gave during the Riley Blake Challenge video this week. When using your tape, you're going to place it wherever it might get caught by the foot. So it's not going to get caught on the foot here because the foot's coming this way, but it could easily get caught here. But instead of putting it over your seam and having to dig it off of your seam later, put it outside the seam just so that that part is laid down. And so it can't get hooked. And then you can keep reusing those pieces of tape, because these two I've used here. I've used them already on 3 or 4 different blocks. And I would say about every, it looks, typically I've been getting about 7 or 8 blocks before the sticky on the tape just wears to the point where it's not really helpful. And then I do 2 more. But boy, does that save you your use of tape. And you don't have to dig it out of your now this comes out of seams really easily, but I know paper tapes especially do not easily come out of our seam allowances and our stitching. So there we go. We have now created our stem block. And just like I showed you before, you're going to be able now, once you've made all 4, to put your 3 clover leaves and your stem blocks together into 4 patches. Okay, now we'll move on to the next demo, which is our double chain block. Okay, everyone, this video demo is about the double chain block for the Lucky Charm clover project that we're making. And you can see right here, this is the block we're making. And I'm calling it a double chain block because it's basically 2 blocks. And if you've ever done crochet, you know that 2 single stitches on top of each other is called a double crochet. So I'm calling this a double chain. That's just where I got that name from it. Now, we could have done these where you did more than 2 together, but for this project, 2 works. And given the size of each individual block, you can only get 1 double chain in your 5x7 hoop. And of course, I'm always trying to make sure that everyone can do this project with just the 5x7 hoop. However, if you have a bigger hoop and you can get more in a hooping, that's great. You are going to need 6 of 2 of your fabrics and 7 of the other 2 of your fabrics. So you're going to take all the fabrics that you used with your leaves for your clover, and you're going to cut those into 5x5 squares, and then you're going to create piles of 4. And then at the very end, you'll have the 2 from the grouping that had 7 at the end. And you'll just keep going through and making these. And then on Sunday, when we do the complete layout and finish, you'll see how these go together with the clover blocks and how we end up with our final project. So for this week, you can, of course, put your clover blocks together once you make your stems, and then you're going to want to get your double blocks created as well. So let's go ahead and walk through the creation of one. So on my stabilizer, I have stitched out my main boundary. I'm going to stitch out my second step also on my stabilizer. This is a really easy one. It's just putting the 2 blocks together. Just mix and match your colors however you like them. As with all machine embroidery patchwork in the hoop, the first piece of fabric is always laid down right side up. And I'm going to take this out because I want to show you something. Now let's get down here a little bit. So right here is my line for this top box. This requires no trimming until you trim out of the stabilizer if you follow this. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing this and I'm putting it right on that line, and then I'm bringing it down about a quarter of an inch. So when I roll this back, I have roughly a quarter of an inch. And that way I don't have to trim this. I don't have to trim any of this. So if you want to mark yourself a little 1/4 of an inch with your ruler, so what you might do is, let me get a pen here, take and mark a 1/4 of an inch right there, and a 1/4 of an inch right there. And then that way you'll kind of know what your 1/4 inch is. And if with your finger, if you can feel this, boy, I'm right on that 1/4 inch mark. I'm lining, there's the stitch line under there. There's the stitch line under there. I'm right there. So I'm going to go ahead and place this back into my machine, and we're going to stitch that down. And you'll see how that turns out, where you're not going to need to do any trimming on that. And that is another one of the pro tips when you're piecing in the hoop. If you can, place your fabric so that you don't have to do the trimming. Now on our leaves and stuff that we did on the Riley Blake block yesterday, they definitely, there was no way to fix that. You had to trim on those. But you can see right here, I basically laid my block where I've got almost a dead perfect 1/4 of an inch. So I'm good with that. Now I'm going to take my second fabric and lay it on top, right sides together. And now I know I'm also going to have that perfect 1/4 inch on this one, because it's going to stitch right where it's stitched before. And it will, so that will be that perfect 1/4 inch. And I'm going to go ahead and take and put a little glue down here in the bottom half. And you can take this off your machine if you like, or just pick up your fabric and roll it under, flip it, give these little edges a little bit of a press with your finger, and then there we go. So when you're finished with this and you take it out of the machine, all you'll have to do is trim a 1/4 inch from your stitch line all the way around, like you see here in this sample. Now there is one side that we need to tape down for the final guideline box. We don't have to worry about this side because the foot's not going to hit, but over here we do need to check that out. So I'm placing my tape outside of the line, so I'm not going to have to peel it off of that thread. And we're going to go ahead and now do the guideline box, and then this one will be done. These stitch out really quickly, about a minute and a half or so, and they're done, depending on your speed. If you're one of the folks that uses the top speed on your machine, it might even stitch out quicker. But this is stitching out at 700 stitches per minute. And then you keep going. So this is going to get a little boring for you because this piece is really simple. But this is how I put this one together so that everybody could do these sashings and the borders that are going to be these single blocks. Now we'll just pop that out. And there it is. That's what it looks like on the back. And you can just cut those out and then keep going. Now what I do is I just put my stack to the side, and then I go and stitch them all out at the end. So don't forget to join us on Sunday for Quilt Lab, and Quilt Lab will be part 3, where we will do the final layout of our Lucky Charm block. Until then, make some beautiful clovers and double chains, and sew life beautiful.